What's up, guys? It's your boy Hokage here. Welcome to the video. Now, I know that this review was supposed to be out on Saturday, but just a whole bunch of things happened in my life, so I couldn't do it on Saturday, so I apologize for that. And one more thing that I need to say before I start this review, shout out to Different. She's one of my friends, and she basically helped me make this thumbnail that you're seeing basically on this video. And she fucking colored Jigen in such a beautiful way, and she even did another one that's on her Twitter right now, so I'm gonna have her Twitter in the description of this video in case you want to follow her. And with that said, let's get into the video. As usual, Kishimoto, Kodachi, and Ikemura gave us a beautifully written Boruto chapter, and guys, Boruto chapter 27 is definitely one of my favorite chapters of the entire Boruto manga, and there are many interesting moments which I feel like they could be huge for the future of the series. For instance, let's talk about the opening scene, right? The scene with Hinata and Himawari. Now, naturally you would think, okay, what's up with that? Okay, the vase was broken, right, in the previous chapter and all that. Himawari was a little bit sad, but what's so deep about it? Well, I think that this specific scene could potentially mean a lot for the future of the series, and let me explain. This is a monthly manga, right? Only like 40 pages every month, and like for Ikemura to expand that scene into a couple of pages and into a couple of panels. There was one specific panel where it literally only focused on the vase. There has to be some meaning to it, because could this be some type of foreshadowing that something might happen between Kawaki and Himawari in the future, just like how he accidentally quote unquote hurt Himawari. I mean, he got her to be sad, right? Maybe he's gonna do something accidentally in the future or on purpose. I'm just wondering, because in the first chapter of the Boruto manga, we see Kawaki standing on the Hokage stone faces. They're destroyed. It looks like Kawaki did it, maybe with somebody's help, but we don't really know. But it's clear that Kawaki's gonna do something to Boruto that Boruto won't really like, so to say, and a lot of things actually. And could he potentially do something to Himawari in the future? Maybe not directly. I don't really know, but it would be kind of weird for Ikemura to put such emphasis and to have a panel of the pieces of the vase if it was just a random slice of life scene. Yeah, I just thought that was very, very interesting at the start. If this is just a regular, I don't know, slice of life scene, I just wasted 2 minutes for nothing, but doesn't really matter. This is how I like to do my reviews, right? Anyway, we get the peeing scene, and I'm saying this 100% unironically. This scene, it was just fucking genius, right? Let me explain. So, obviously, you have this little moment where Boruto pretty much wakes up or whatever. He has to pee. He has to do it immediately. It's an urgent case. And basically the same thing happens to Kawaki. And, they kind of get into a little conflict or whatever. And, one would say, well, Boruto is acting like a brat. Kawaki is pretty much his guest and he's treating him in that way. Well, the only thing I have to say to that is read chapter 26 and just look at how everything started between Boruto and Kawaki, and I feel like the course of their interaction so far is going pretty natural. Because obviously Kawaki does have that edgy, fucked up attitude, obviously because of everything that happened in his life, and obviously Boruto doesn't know all of that. I mean, he's slowly getting to know Kawaki. I mean, Kawaki opened up to Boruto in this chapter, which I thought was a huge moment, but I'm gonna get into that a bit later. So yeah, Boruto is getting to know Kawaki, but still, they're almost like strangers right now. So for me, that moment when they got into, I guess, that conflict, I thought it was perfectly natural. I don't think Boruto was acting like a brat. I mean, this random edgy, kid came to his house. He broke a vase. Obviously, it wasn't on purpose, but still, it's just fucking facts, right? All of a sudden, he lives with him, and nobody asked Boruto for his opinion or anything like that. So, he's taking it calmly, in a very mature way, but still, you gotta have conflicts like this between two kids. Um, anyway, they were arguing right in front of the bathroom or whatever, and Naruto tells him to go outside because he was taking a shit. I'm just loving these slice of life moments. You guys know, I mean, if you're an old viewer of mine, you guys know that I like slice of life. I mean, my second favorite anime slash manga, the name of it is Your Lie in April. It's like mainly slice of life. And it's just something that I really enjoy because that's when you really see how characters behave when they're together, and you really get to know them, in my opinion, really well. Not saying that you can't do it outside of slice of life. I'm just saying for me that's just the best method, of presenting the characters. But anyway, going back to the entire peeing scene, right? Kawaki and Boruto, they go outside, and we get a couple of panels of them being together, and I was laughing, man. I thought it was hilarious. And when they zipped, like, when they started fighting, I thought that was hilarious. I'm just imagining that scene in the anime, like they're peeing, they're kind of finishing it, and then boom, they start fighting. It's gonna be hilarious when it gets animated, and kind of cool because when they did their little sparring match or whatever, the karma seals activated because I mean we all know that these seals kind of activate when they're together next to each other. They called it resonance, and a couple of chapters ago or something like that. So yeah, now what's interesting for me is that they were pretty even, so to say. Obviously they weren't going all out. It was just a couple of taijutsu moves or whatever, but still, ever since Kawaki was introduced, I always speculated that he's the same age as Boruto, and I still think that they're both the same age. I think right now in the manga Boruto is either 12 or 13. And I feel like Kawaki's the same age, but I'm not gonna deny the fact that he looks older. And if he is indeed older, then, Boruto's kind of more talented than him. Because, if he's younger and he's keeping up with Kawaki's taijutsu, you know what I mean. And obviously, I'm referring to taijutsu. I feel like right now, if both of them went all out, I think Kawaki would beat Boruto. And despite all of the powers we saw from Kawaki so far, I still feel like there's even more to his arsenal. But yeah. Anyway, now, there's this scene when Naruto's in the toilet and he creates the shadow clones. The man can't even shit in peace. What can you say? What can you do? But, he stops them. And am I the only one who immediately thought of Kakashi, Sasuke, and Naruto back in part 1 when Naruto and, Sasuke were about to clash each other with the Rasengan and the Chidori, and then Kakashi stopped them? I just thought this was very nostalgic because I immediately thought of that, and, Naruto part 1 is very special to me. I mean, I think that pretty much it's special to pretty much everybody. Let's be honest here. But yeah, overall, up until this point, the chapter starts off with an interesting scene that might foreshadow something. Then we even have like this, argument about who's gonna pee first, which is slice of life comedy, and it actually has some meaning to it. So far, the chapter is great. Plus, we get some action, right? And anyway, Naruto stops the fight. Later on, I think they have a lunch or something. They eat together, all of them. And at one point, Himawari teases Boruto. I thought that was great. I mean, especially, Himawari so far in the Boruto series, she barely talks. So it was really, enjoyable when she actually does something rather than just being there and being cute. Not that I have anything against all of that, but I just want more from Himawari's character. I mean, in the anime, 75 episodes in, and she talked only for a couple of times. I don't know how relevant she's going to be in throughout the rest of the series, but I just want to see more, man. It's Naruto's fucking daughter. But anyway, she kind of teases Boruto, saying how he's happy because Naruto spends more time at home. And it is true, right? It was stated in this chapter. I think we can all agree. Now, I wonder, like, this is just a question that popped inside of my head, that popped up inside of my head. And I think somebody asked me this on Twitter earlier today, or somebody gave me an opinion about this. But anyway, I'm wondering if, like, Naruto and Boruto are going to have another conflict because, despite the fact that they resolved their conflict throughout the versus Momoshiki arc, all of a sudden, because of some random kid, Naruto is spending so much more time at home. Now, that could be a perspective of a kid that just doesn't understand. And I feel like that doesn't understand. And I feel like Boruto is gonna be mature enough to understand that this is like important. That this kid pretty much doesn't have a house to sleep in. And I mean, he learned something about his backstory in this chapter as well. So I don't think that he's gonna get jealous because of the fact that Naruto is gonna give Kawaki some attention. I don't think so. Even if it does happen, I feel like I trust the Boruto writers. I feel like they're gonna do it well because so far the character progression of Boruto and his character development, the way his flaws were handled throughout the series, so far for me it's almost flawless. So even if they decide to go this route, I feel like it's gonna be good. But honestly, if I had to choose between Boruto getting jealous over that and writers executing it in a logical, great way, and if I had to choose between that and Boruto just simply not getting jealous at all, I'd choose the second option because I feel like it isn't too important. But we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Anyway, the obviously the scene when Kawaki opens up. I mean, this is huge. Not only because of the fact that he kind of opened up to Boruto, and this obviously makes him closer, but we finally saw how he got the Karma Seal. Now, let me quickly comment on how he got the Karma Seal. The theory that he killed Urashiki is officially dead, and Urashiki is fucking alive, and I'm super excited. But that's a topic for another video. Let's talk about the fact that my man Jigen can actually give Karma Seals. Now, when Boruto killed Momoshiki, he got this seal, right? And all of us were like, okay, this is a seal from a god. This is something super rare, something super cool or whatever. And then you have Jigen, who's able to probably give 10 Karma Seals to 10 different people. And it's either that the Karma Seal isn't such a big deal, and I think it is, or it's the fact that Jigen is either a god of some sort, maybe a different celestial being, or he's just a human with godlike abilities. And I feel like it's either that he's a celestial being or he has godlike abilities. I mean, he pretty much, a couple of chapters ago recreated a table, I think some wine or some shit. He created it out of nothing, basically. Maybe even messed with the time. With the timeline of the world. We don't really know. We never got an explanation for that. We might get some explanations for his powers in the future of the series. But the point I'm trying to make is Jigen is the real shit. And, the way he just doesn't give a fuck about those children's lives, it's obviously giving me Orochimaru vibes. I think I even said it in my last chapter review. But it's frightening. I feel like we're gonna get a very, very good villain in Jigen, and why am I like? There's a reason why I'm saying this. I'm not saying that only because he's badass, he's dark, he's gonna kill many people. I'm saying this because it looks like he has a goal, and one of the main things that I look for when I look at villains is their motivation, their goals, the reason why they're quote unquote evil. I mean, Pain. Pain is my favorite Naruto villain, and I really liked his goal, but not only his goal, but the way he was trying to achieve it, right? You often have in fiction villains which are super strong, they have cool designs and all that, but they're evil for the sake of being evil, and that's not something that I really enjoy too much. And obviously, Jigen does have some type of goal. It was stated by him in this chapter that it's pretty much necessary for the car organization to have a vessel. I mean, it was stated earlier in the series multiple times. I'm just saying, the writers are constantly adding it, meaning that Jigen has a he has a goal that he really wants to achieve, and I really wonder what that goal is. And there's like one detail that I noticed in this chapter that really caught my attention. Obviously you have Amado, the scientist, obviously, and Jigen talking, and at one point, I don't know if it was Jigen or Amado, but somebody mentions how there are three more people, right? Kawaki and two more guys. Then you get a scene of Jigen he gave it to that kid. He gives this kid the karma seal, and this kid pretty much dies. And that's everything we see. Notice how the third kid, he or she, I suppose it's a he was never shown. This might be an Easter egg. I think that we might see this character in the future of the series. Honestly, I'm 90% sure. Because, writers like to do these things. They want to give you something that's kind of obvious, but they still kind of hide it. And if you think about it, not everybody's going to notice this. Most people will be like, okay, you read the chapter, you see Kawaki, you see that kid dying, and then, you just forget about the fact that there were three of them. But that one character might come back at some point. We never saw him, but that one character might appear later on in the Boruto series. Maybe he's going to try to fight against Jigen for revenge or something like that, because, I don't know, Jigen probably ruined his life by giving him the karma seal. Now, I don't think that this kid had the karma seal, but maybe it's some type of mutation. Maybe he has like a half seal. Maybe his body rejected it and something happened, and he was kind of the experiment kind of failed, I guess, and then they just kind of bumped him. I don't know, but I feel like dumped him. I feel like he's alive, because I think at one point Ahmad in this chapter said we don't know how many of them died, meaning that even if it fails, there's a chance that you might survive, but maybe with some horrible consequences. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that this character is alive, and I can't wait to see this character later on in the Boruto series. Maybe after the time skip, maybe before. I don't know. But yeah, Jigen's design, when I guess his seal activated throughout his body, it kind of reminded me of Momoshiki's fused version for a bit. And Jigen, man, I just can't wait to see more of Jigen, his backstory, his origin, his motivation, goals, stuff like that. Oh my god. I just can't wait. And anyway, as Kawaki said this to Boruto, because I think he was asking Boruto, he was like, is Jigen involved with your karma seal? And then, Boruto explained everything with Momoshiki. And when Kawaki heard the name Otsutsuki, he didn't really react to it, so it looks like he probably doesn't know anything about the Otsutsuki clan. I don't know. But there was one very, very interesting detail, something that was very thought-provoking. Boruto, when he hears about everything that happened to those children, he is pretty much left shocked, surprised. I don't know how. Everybody would feel the same way, right? But at one point, he kind of implies that the fact that Kawaki survived is a good thing, and Kawaki straight out tells him that he's been living in an eternal hell ever since that day, and he just wants to get rid of the karma seal. He did all of this just, to escape from the Kara and to, I guess, research more about the seal. And, this is something that I really, really respect, because often in anime, when you have these edgy characters, they don't really open up easily. They're edgy all the time, and Kawaki's super edgy, but he opened up so easily. He said it out loud. I'm living in an eternal hell. And that kind of differentiates him in a way. And honestly, it was a touching moment. We got Kawaki's backstory recently. This arc that we're in right now is called the Kawaki arc. And, details like this, it's at least for me, it's making me bond with Kawaki more and more. and he's slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite Boruto characters. I mean, he already kind of is. Um, excuse me. But yeah, he opened up to Boruto. I thought that scene was emotional, and it's probably gonna be even more emotional in the anime. Maybe they're gonna add like a sad soundtrack or a creepy soundtrack. I don't know, in the background or something like that. Anyway, it's gonna be more impactful, I think. And Boruto, I've been noticing this throughout this series. When stuff gets emotional, he kind of not like he wants to change the subject, but like he's kind of you know it's like he wants to not be emotional, so he says something. I don't know. This was kind of different at the end of the versus Momoshiki arc when he was resolving the conflict with Naruto. I'm not gonna explain why it was different. I think it's quite obvious. But here, he immediately changes the topic. Like, I won't forgive you about what you did to Himawari. I don't think he said that. I think, because obviously I'm not gonna, quote exactly what he said, but you guys got the point, right? If you read the chapter, and you wouldn't be watching this review if you hadn't read the chapter, right? At least I hope so. And he switches the topic to that. Kawaki says that he'll buy a new one, and Boruto's like, that's not what I meant. And I think this is a very deep moment, because Boruto probably wanted Kawaki to directly apologize to Himawari, which Kawaki didn't understand at this point. Maybe I misinterpreted this, but Kawaki literally said, I'm gonna buy a new vase, right? And Boruto was like, that's not what I meant. So if it's not a new vase, if it's not an apology, what's the third option? It's not like he's gonna buy two vases, right? So I feel like that's a very, very deep / mature moment there when it comes to Boruto. And this scene, and as they were talking, from Naruto was there standing observing the entire conversation, and I just really, really enjoyed the dynamics of that scene. And when Kawaki was pretty much explaining his quote unquote objective, that's how he called it, of finding out more about the Karma Seal and eliminating the Karma Seal, Boruto, obviously he was there listening to him, and I feel like this is just the start of their journey to find information about the Karma Seal. I'm not saying that in the next chapter they're gonna do it. They're not gonna do it in the next chapter, but this is one of the most important moments, I feel, in the Boruto series. This is the beginning, because eventually both of them, I mean, Kawaki even wants to know more info now, but both of them are just gonna want to find out more and more. Eventually they are probably gonna start searching shit, right? And this is the moment when Kawaki for the first time said it to Boruto, yo, I have an objective. I suppose that you want to find more about the Karma Seal as well. Let's do this together. And I just think that it's an iconic moment, even though it doesn't look like it, because they're in a house. This chapter is full of ridiculous scenes, such as Naruto taking a shit, Boruto and Kawaki peeing together next to each other. But I feel like this is important. And the Boruto manga, it always has a couple of very significant moments, like good, fucking great moments, like all the time in every chapter. But yeah, anyway, at the end we get this scene where Kawaki and Naruto talk, right? And again, Kawaki has this edgy attitude when he talks to Naruto. It was hilarious seeing Naruto's reaction to the way Kawaki spoke. It was hilarious how he reacted in the last chapter as well. But I'm loving these gag moments between Naruto and Jiraiya. Fucking Jiraiya. Between what am I doing with my life? Yeah, Kawaki. Between Naruto and Kawaki, not Jiraiya, for God's sake. I just think we're gonna get more of these moments, and I'm enjoying them. This manga is dark in a way, and it's nice when you get some funny scenes like that. And yeah, I don't have anything else to add about the scene with Naruto reacting to how Kawaki speaks, but I want to mention something. When Naruto was he was like, you don't have money to buy a new vase or whatever, but he was kind of acknowledging that Kawaki's gonna go and buy a new vase, right? And I don't know if it was at that point specifically or a little bit earlier. Kawaki was like, he kind of implied that even though he doesn't want to do this 100%, it will be good because that will make Boruto happier. and that's good because he's gonna need Boruto to research more, because when they're in resonance, their karma seals activate. Boruto has the karma seal. He got it in a different way, right? So technically, Boruto could be useful to Kawaki. Now, I do think that they're going to have a strong emotional bond, but this shows that Kawaki is so quote-unquote emotionless right now that he would go as far as to pretty much, make use of Boruto, right? I feel like they're not going to go with the route of Kawaki not having any emotions towards Boruto. I feel like even at this point, he decided to buy a vase because he probably felt bad a little bit, even though he doesn't show it at all. But you guys gotta remember his life, right? If you can even call that a life. But it's really interesting that the writers are letting us know that right now he has this mindset where he's ready to fucking use somebody. It was a very, very small detail. I don't even know if you guys noticed it at some point at the end of the chapter. But if you didn't notice it, just go reread the final bits when Kawaki comments on the fact that this would be good, if he buys a new vase or whatever. Anyway, this chapter, and obviously, at the end, Naruto and Kawaki leave, and we're gonna get some more Naruto Kawaki moments in the next chapter, and I just cannot wait for that. This chapter, just like the last one, gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It makes Boruto and Kawaki a lot closer. It has these great slice of life moments, good comedy, good gag moments, even some action, right? This chapter had everything, and just the fact that it went by so quickly, it means that I really, really enjoyed reading it. But it's not because it's subjectively one of my favorite chapters. Is that I genuinely think that was fucking beautiful, beautifully written, a bunch of foreshadowing signals, and I'm loving the Boruto manga. Great chapter. I really, really cannot wait for the next one. The fact that I have to wait for another month, and I mean, we all do, but like, the fact that I have to wait for another month, it's killing me. I'm sad. I just want to read the shit out of this manga. Sometimes I wish I started watching Boruto 10 years later when it's already done, and then I can just binge watch everything. But then I wouldn't have this beautiful Boruto community that I have now, so I'm grateful anyway. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm suffering from this horrible 30-day wait all the time. And sometimes it's more than 30 days. Usually is more than 30 days. But anyway, that was your boy Hokage. It's for this link in the description below. Also link to my second channel is in the description of this video. If you're new to this channel and if you're into the Boruto series, consider subscribing. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.